about a heaven in Alberta, where they've got all hell for basements. Yeah, I lost my way, but I hear tell about a heaven in Alberta, where they've got all hell for basements.
Hi, everyone. Frankie here, New West Reset. Hello. How's it going, eh? How's she going there, eh, bud? Welcome back. Thank you very much for shooting in and joining a fella here for another live stream. New West Reset Live, episode 64 here today. Canada's oldest churches we're going to be looking at. I've got about 60-ish photos that we're going to be having a peekaboo at of churches between the years 1647. That's right, I said it. 1647 up here in Canada land to about the mid 1860s. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Some beautiful old world structures that I've got in the folder for tonight, or this afternoon, or today, or this morning, whatever the case may be. Going to look at a couple of articles as well. So links for all of that. We're going to be looking at Wikipedia and just a couple of interesting little articles online, shall we say. So yeah, links for everything will be down below. So there we are. Speaking of links, BitChute, MeWe, the guy's email, all down below, as well as Rumble, because as per usual, broadcasting live simultaneously on the HooTubes and the Rumble. So welcome to everybody. Thanks for kicking off your weekend here with yours truly. Greatly appreciate that. It's nice to see all of you. As mentioned, it's Friday. It's Friday, April the 3rd, 2024. Beautiful day today. It was fairly sunny all day. I had a couple of spots there where some clouds rolled in and the wind picked up a bit, but even right now, beautiful out there. Plus 12 Celsius. It's about 55-ish on the Fahrenheit scale. So not too bad. Not too bad at all. A couple days ago, we had some rain mixed with snow. I know. Shocker. Wait, Canada? Snow? Posh, you say. But no, it's true. It is not poppycock. So once again, thanks for kicking off your weekend here with yours truly. Thank you very much for shooting in for this live stream. Say hello in the chat, in the box. Let me know how things are going and where you're shooting in from. Kathy's here. Kathy's shooting in all the way from Kentucky, the bluegrass state. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Hello, Kathy. Good to see you. Mariet, our friend from Hidden at Plain Sight channel over in the Netherlands. Thanks for joining. My pal Bill is here. William Pals. How you doing, William? Good to see you, sir. Yeah, he's hello, eh? Just practicing my Canadian before I come back to Canada, brother. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, feller's gotta like what a guy's got to do is pick that up and just polish that off there, eh, bud, and get it all shined up nice for when you come back in here, there, eh, buddy? Old World, Michigan in the box. Good to see you, my friend. Howdy, howdy. Mr. Beast fan is here as well. How's it going, eh? Oh, she's going pretty good there, eh, buddy? Title! Title is here. Always good to see Title. Wow, this is going to be a tongue twister for a fella. Sonoyo Ibasta. I butchered that, but hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. JJ Organics is here. Double wave. Hello, hello. One wave. Two waves. Double wave. There it is. There it is. Some where's Jabberoo Joe? I'm seeing Jabberoo Joe's comment, but it's not shown. There's Jabberoo Joe. There we go. Any artistic pictures in the drawing book? Oh, this one back here? Yeah, there are. That's my nan's drawing book from when she was in grade school over in jolly old England there in London, as you can see, from 1943. And there's some sketches and so on in there. Yeah. Maybe what I'll do is one of these days on the show, I'll open her up and flip through her there, eh, bud? And we could see what's what. If I pull it off there now, all this is going to come tumbling down off of here because it's precariously perched upon that shelf, which in itself is precariously perched upon the wall. But with that said, I am going to share some art because I feel like a big pile of horse shit. That's right. Because I forgot to show your artwork on the previous Knucklehead show there on this past Sunday, when we were looking at Nelson, BC. I had them all queued up, good to go, and well, that's just, it is what it is, man. I dropped the ball. Real hard. It was stupid. But you know what? I got them now. So we quit goofing around about it and have a look-see here. Let's see which one we're going to look at first. No, not that one, because I know there's an order. There's an order. There we go. There it is. Okay, let's start with this one. Yeah, that's the one. Anyways, yeah, I felt like hell because I forgot Joe Cool in the box. Good to see you. Howdy, howdy. Artistic. Yeah. Why did you type autistic? No, you typed artistic. Oh, your stuff is very creative and artistic. Come on now. Don't go selling yourself short. At least I think you're very, very creative. There we go. Old World Adventures with the Knuckleheads. Still cheap at 30 cents. So there you go. Issue number 6 here. City of Nelson welcomes you. No, now it's Beaversville. There we go. That infamous beaver. Here's Frankie Fingers over here. Says, Ship's Boson Beaver. You seem to have forgotten that I had you keel-hauled for a similar stunt on New Zealand's South Island. Not to mention your failed attempt to fell the mainsail mast and the 8 holes you gnawed in the ship's hull. Oh, damn it, man. Give me my hat back. And the crowds just stop the beaver. Look at that. Eh? Where's all this booze coming from? Who's guzzling the booze? Yeah, probably the beaver. Probably the beaver. Well, you know, there's some keel hauling going on. You know, there was some keel hauling. Beaver keelhauled for insubordination in full accordance with naval law. I think we may have seen this one. Lord Nelson laments lack of discipline on colonial voyages. Southland farmers fume at Nod fence posts. There's the beef getting keel hauled. They literally haul you by the keel of the boat. That's a bit of driftwood to nibble would be nice. Doesn't sound pleasant, does it? Getting dragged behind a boat, a ship, a tall ship especially. Those things can move, baby. Those things can move. Nelson's last stand. Was it the Beaver, Admiral? There's too many fancy schmancy highfalutin Lord Nelsons and Nelson this, Nelson that in Canadian history. And when we were talking about doing Nelson, British Columbia, geez, smut. But I thought it was Nelson was named after Lord Nelson, right, of the British Royal Navy, who had some links to Canada, of course, Canada being former British colony, protectorate and all that. The Commonwealth of the Dominion of Canada. But apparently some other Nelson guy who was, I don't know, lieutenant governor of the province of BC, or he was a mayor, or I don't know, some fancy schmancy guy. Anyways, there you go. There's those aren't the photographs for the show, by the way. That's just me again. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, my friend. I totally dropped the ball on that. So the timing's off by, she's not too bad there. Timing's off by like 5 days, eh? 5 days. 3 fingers in the box. Hello. Howdy. Good to see you. Mr. Beast fan says, I always like seeing your backgrounds. Yeah. I switch them up. I'm going to throw my old cameras, old books, whatever I've got. Got some binoculars there, Old records, whatever the case may be. So once again, thank you very much for shooting in, joining a fella here. New West Reset Live, episode 64 here today. Canada's oldest churches. As mentioned, links for some of the articles we're going to look at here real quick. Then we'll take a mid-show break and give you a sneak peek at your upcoming midweek for Wednesday, some vintage footage. We're going to be looking at, for the vintage footage here, we're going to be looking at Greenland in the 1920s, I think 1924. When was the last time you saw some old black and white, old-timey video footage of Greenland? I think you'll be surprised at some of what's on that film. So that'll be the mid-show sneak peek. And then when we come back, we'll look at some photomographs of old churches. What do you think? In the meantime, if you haven't already, consider giving a guy one of these, give a guy a like, a thumbs up. Just helps push a small channel of mine out into the algorithm a little bit. Thank you to all of you who are already subscribed. We did it. We did it. Oh, and the train's going by too. Can hear that old diesel humming. Anyway, we did it. 1,500. Thank you very much. Officially. I mean, that could still go up or down. Chinka, janka, janga, janga in the next couple of days. But we got it locked here at 15. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for all of your support. Now I can use that as an excuse to do a meetup with a bunch of people. That'll be coming probably mid-June. As we get closer, a couple more weeks, I will come up with a separate video just with, further details of time, address, where to meet, and all that sort of thing. But it is going to be in Inglewood. Beautiful neighborhood, one of the oldest neighborhoods here in the city. Already got a couple of confirmations for the meetup, so hopefully, fingers crossed here. Hopefully, the weather is all right by then, and it's not too rainy or anything or too windy. We're not going to, I doubt, highly doubt we're going to have snow at that point. I mean, you never know. Again, the guy's going to cross his fingers because, now they've said it, of course, they've put the jinx and put the kibosh on everything. Cousin Vinny's going to be there with his semi blue language that can be interpreted a couple of different ways there in the box. But yeah, Cousin Vinny will be there, which is always there. You go. Good to see you, Cousin Vinny. Thank you very much for joining. Always good to see you there, my pal. So yeah, just an excuse, really. That's all I was shooting for, was an excuse to do a meetup in real life. Inglewood. It's going to be great. Most of the land that was apparently, the official story is most of the land in Inglewood there at one point belonged to the CP Rail, Canadian Pacific Railway. And they sold it to land developers in 1902, and they started developing in there in 1904 residential. But there's buildings that are dated earlier than that, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to have to maybe look a little more into it and make sure I'm not mixing up neighborhoods, because there's a couple of adjacent neighborhoods that were also owned by the railroad that were developed at different times. Right? But yeah, Englewood's a great neighborhood. Old churches, old schools, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, looking forward to that. So thank you. Beautiful day. As mentioned today, the windows open, so I'm sure you can hear the train going by. I know you're going to hear sirens going by at some point because, it's just, it is what it is. It's, it wouldn't be a New West Reset live stream without some ambulances or fire engines or something whipping by. Besides, it's Friday, right? So, you know what's going on. You live in the city and it's Friday. You're going to get some shenanigans. Friday evening, Friday night shenanigans. But hey, it's Friday. So good. Happy Friday to all of you. Ha! Right. Thanks. Obviously, I never set out to make myself famous doing this thing, which is just ridiculous, anyways, because I was pretty late to the party on this sort of research, at least online, anyways. With starting up a channel, because a feller's been at it for about 3 years now, and 1,500. I've had a lot of people say to me, "Why so small still?" It's fine. I mean, obviously, if I wanted to be super famous, I would show my face. Don't know if any of you would want to see that, but anyways. And it's, well, the YouTube hates a guy, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's fine. There's 20 of you here in the box with me watching right now, so thank you. That's great. Once these channels get to be too big, it kind of loses that personal touch, that little bit of a back and forth with people that support the channel and whoever's channel it is, right? Oh yeah, for sure. It's like a trademark now. Definitely like a trademark. It's just unfortunate that big road now is connected to another big road, and it's faster for that. Well, I mean, it's good because it's faster for first responders, but it runs like 200 yards behind my place. So it's like great, because I never used to get a lot of the sirens. Anyway, once again, thank you. Thanks for joining me. Share and like and all that stuff. So let's take a look at quickly here a brief history of because as mentioned we're looking at the oldest churches in Canada. So I figured we'd at least kick it off with some of the Wikipedia of just when the official story is of when sort of Western religion sort of took hold, shall we say? Christianity took hold here in Canada land. So the history of this is again Wikipedia, as mentioned. Religion in Canada. In Canada. So before 1800s history. Before the arrival of Europeans, the indigenous peoples followed a wide array of mostly animistic religions and spirituality, including the presence of creation stories, the role of tricksters or of supernatural beings in folklore, and the importance of sacred organizations. Also, sacred sites like, big giant boulders that they blow up and then flood, i.e., last week's show. Animistic is the belief that objects, places, and creatures all possess a distinct spiritual essence. Animism perceives all things, animals, plants, rocks, rivers, weather systems, human handiwork, and in some cases words as being animated, having agency and free will. Oh, okay. Very, very interesting. So the first Europeans to settle in great numbers in Canada land were French Catholics. And that's even way out here in the wild root and toot and shoot 'em up Wild West here, apparently. Some of the earliest settlements in and around what is now Calgary were French Catholic missionaries, and mission settlements. So there you go. Got to rubber stamp that narrative, including a large number of Jesuits who established several missions in North America. They were dedicated to converting indigenous peoples in an effort that eventually proved successful. Force people, I guess. The first large Protestant communities were formed in the Maritimes after they were conquered by the British. Unable to convince enough British immigrants to go to the region, the government decided to import continental Protestants from Germany and Switzerland to populate the region and counterbalance the Roman Catholic Acadians. This group was known as foreign Protestants. This effort proved successful, and today the South Shore region of Nova Scotia is still largely Lutheran. After the expulsion of the Acadians beginning in 1755, a large number of New England planters settled on the vacated lands, bringing with them their Congregationalist beliefs. During the 1770s, guided by Henry Alline? I don't know. A new light movement of the Great Awakening swept through the Atlantic region, converting many Congregationalists to the new theology. After Alline's death, excuse me, many of these new lights eventually became Baptists, thus making Maritime Canada the heartland of Baptist movement in Canada. The Quebec Act of 1774 acknowledged the rights of Roman Catholic Church throughout Lower Canada in order to compete with the French Canadians loyal to Britannic crown. Roman Catholicism is still the main religion of French Canada today. The American Revolution, beginning in 1765, brought a large influx of Protestants to Canada when United Empire Loyalists fleeing the rebellious United States moved in large numbers to Upper Canada and the Maritimes. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Somebody is spamming the hell out of my my Rumble chat. Take off, eh? Knob. And get out of here. Get on out of here now. Excuse me. Sorry about that. A little administrative maintenance. Well, that too, I guess. Denominations of money and denominations of religious factions, I guess, or subsects. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Let me share something else with you here real quick, just because it pertains to these terms, Upper and Lower Canada, which some of you may not be too familiar with, and be like, wait, what? Wait, what? So let me just pull up photo here. What is going on? Open that there photo. Why are you not opening that there photo? Something hokey going on here with my computer, because I've got, you know what? Fine. It's fine. That's fine. You can just look it up on the goggle images. It's fine by me. Excuse the delay here. I know this is absolutely gripping, nail biting here on the show, but just want to give you an idea of what we're talking about here. So Lower Canada was this region of Canada, sort of what is now Labrador and the St. Lawrence region here in Quebec. And Upper Canada was southern Ontario going around the northern portions of the Great Lakes. This is now the province of Ontario and the province of Quebec. There's Newfoundland and Labrador. So this was considered Lower Canada. Prince Edward Island is there. I think New Brunswick, maybe? Nope. And then this is Upper Canada. Why they were called, I guess because this is where the seat of government was, so it's Upper Canada, even though technically and geographically, and when you look at it on a map, it's actually underneath, so you'd think this would be Upper Canada and this is Lower Canada, but that's a whole different kettle of stupidity. But yeah, that's what they mean by Upper and Lower Canada. Oh, and Rumble's fine, Bill. It's just, when you're doing live streams, you're going to just get some bot that just decides to spam your chat with links to, hey, I've got a giveaway for this or that at this link. And so people don't want to see that BS. They don't want any of that bullshit while they're trying to watch it and listen to a live stream. You know what I'm saying? They don't need any of that. So I've just got an article here from the Canadian Encyclopedia. Again, links in the description below. And this just goes into a little bit more, a few more specifics on the Roman Catholicism in Canada, eh? This is from the Canadian Encyclopedia website, Early History of the Roman Catholic Church in Canada. It says Roman Catholicism came into what is now Canada with the first European explorers, but was slow to establish itself. Whether Jacques Cartier really was accompanied by chaplains in 1535, Catholicism did not take hold until Samuel de Champlain persuaded the French church to act on his pro-settlement campaign. Circumstances favored the missionary spirit that led to a Canadian Catholic Church. These included the interest of the papacy and the religious orders in the New World. The end of the religious wars in France, the reforms following the Council of Trent, which regenerated the French Church, and enthusiasm of the devout for missions abroad. Supported by noble benefactors and the French clergy, members of the Récollets Franciscan order established themselves in Quebec in 1615, followed in 1625 by, our buddies, the Jesuits. The missionaries went home to France during the English occupation of 1629 to 1632. That explains all the building of the Protestant churches that we're going to be looking at here, and they can wedge that into the narrative nicely. But then returned in force, although by order of Cardinal Richelieu. Only the Jesuits were permitted to resume their work. So there you go. In the 1620s, basically, they started establishing missionaries and dioceses and churches, not necessarily building the structures themselves, but having tent churches and that sort of thing. Old World Mi'kmaq in the box. Hello, my friend. Gwenida, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for shooting in. And real quickly here, just a couple of more links. This one's, we might as well look at the Protestants, right? And see what's going on with the Protestants. It'll be fair. Show the Catholics, got to show the Protestants. This is from the Anglican.ca, the Anglican Church of Canada, a brief history. I mean, you got to take this with a grain of salt because it's their official website. So, there it is. Anglicanism traveled abroad with British colonial expansion in 1578 near present-day Iqaluit, Nunavut. A chaplain celebrated the Eucharist as a member of Martin Frobisher's Arctic expedition. This was the first Anglican Eucharist in what is now Canada, but it wasn't until the 18th and 19th centuries that Anglicanism truly took hold. As military chaplains, loyalists, and British immigrants fanned out and settled across the growing colony, missionaries arrived as well, endeavoring to meet the spiritual needs of settlers and to evangelize Indigenous peoples. In other words, force them onto reserves, rip their children away from them, and send their children forcibly to residential schools where they get punished for speaking their own Indigenous native tongues, singing their traditional songs, and playing their traditional games. Basically forcing them, okay, you can hang around here and we'll be nice to you if you bow down to, Jeebus over there on the wall, right? Gradually, the Canadian Church carved out its own identity. In 1787, Charles, I thought that said Ingalls for a second. I'm like, get out of here. It's close, though. Charles Inglis of Nova Scotia became the first bishop in British North America. More dioceses cohered as the population grew. And in 1893, the diocese created by the National Body of General Synod. Okay, in 1955, the church changed its name from the Church of England in the Dominion of Canada to the Anglican Church of Canada. Took them long enough to stop considering us, a dominion of England. Wow, supposedly it was supposed to be 1867, but whatever. So yeah, that gives you a little bit of again, take it with generous helping of salt because it's from their official website. But I want to give you an idea here too of the population of Canada. I found from Stats Canada, they break it down to Upper and Lower Canada. Sorry, Upper and Lower Canada. Hey, see how that confuses a guy? And I'm Canadian, eh? But anyways, it shows Upper and Lower Canada, breaks it down, and then it shows the combined population by area and province, and from 1700 to 1825. And instead of just blathering on about it, why don't I just share the dang thing with you here? So this is from Stats Canada website. Again, link in the box below. So Upper Canada in 1700, no data. Lower Canada, 14,000 people. 1,300 people in Nova Scotia. No data for Prince Edward Island, PEI. Newfoundland, 500 folks. for a total of about 16,000, just under 16,000 people in Canada in the year 1700. That's people that, they were able to actually physically look them in the eye and check them off and say, yeah, that guy's here, right? There could have been some fur trappers or whatever out in the bush that were just never enumerated. 25 years later, population a little more than doubles for Lower Canada. Still no data for Upper Canada, but 29,000. Big jump there in Nova Scotia. New Scotland is what Nova Scotia means there by. 5,000. 300 now in PEI. 5,000, jumping tenfold in Newfoundland for just shy of 40,000. 1750, still no data for Upper Canada, but Lower Canada, 55,000, another big jump. Doubles again, basically, in another 25 years. 14,000 in Nova Scotia there. PEI, 2,500. 10 grand in Newfoundland thereby. So, wow, we really jumped here. Almost threefold to 81,000. And 6, got to count that 6th guy. Their numbers aren't adding up here, by the way. 1775, we finally got some numbers for Upper Canada. 8 grand. 96,000 in Lower Canada. Still no data for New Brunswick. The Scotia, 20 grand. 10 grand in PEI and 16 grand in Newfoundland thereby. For 150,000 people. So you can see even as late as 1825, there's not even 1 million people in all of what was considered Canada then. Quite extensive and consistent growth in Lower Canada, which again is that Quebec and St. Lawrence region. There's your sirens. There's your sirens for you. It's about time. Anyway, I thought that was very interesting that not even 1 million people here, and you can see the size of some of these churches and cathedrals. It's pretty baffling stuff. So I found a website here. The 10 most historic and remarkable churches in Canada. Now, these aren't the oldest churches in Canada, mind you, but some of them are historic and some of them are just interesting visually, right? Really unique or, well, you'll see. This is from freshdaily.ca, a Canadian travel website. This article is from 2020. Hello, officers. Yeah, they finally found the Nelson firebug. That's what the sirens are all about. Oh yeah, you got to have those icy wafers for that's the Canadian way of doing the Eucharist there, eh? is the instead of just the wafer, it's the icy wafers. Yeah, it's crazy, right, Joe? Early 1600s. Now, mind you, they did say that was in near Iqaluit and Nunavut. So maybe a guy should show you on the map where that is, because it's not exactly downtown Toronto, if you know what I'm saying. Nowhere near the T-dot. Nowhere even near Quebec City at all, which is pretty northern. But let me just quickly share with you what they were saying for that Arctic expedition when they basically, let's pull over here there, eh? And let's, have a religious ceremony there, eh, Bod? So here's Nunavut, way up here. So, I mean, technically it's part of Canada now, but back then, I mean, what was Canada was basically along the St. Lawrence and in and around the Great Lakes here, as we've seen. Really not even this part so much yet at that time, but yeah, way up in Nunavut. And I couldn't even tell you where Iqaluit is in Nunavut, to be honest with you. I'm kind of embarrassed to say. But anyway. Yeah, and you got your Baffin Island. This is all part of Nunavut here. You're going to be looking at this for your vintage footage sneak peek later. But yeah, so they were on their way up here somewhere, and they decided to pull in somewhere in Nunavut here to have, do their thing, their religious thing, and then keep her going there, bud. So yeah, way up there. So pretty far. But anyways, let me share this article here with you. Again, links below. How's everybody doing, by the way? I hope you're enjoying the kickoff to your weekend here on this fantastical Friday. Northern Canada looks like it has a lot of weird marks. There's some crazy geography up there, to say the least. Well, yeah, and this is pre-railroad, right, Joe? And so they're basically saying that it was French settlers, but a lot of British didn't want to go and settle or come over here, leave England and settle over here. So, Germans and Prussians and Ukrainians were encouraged to come over, as well as Scottish and Irish. That old sort of story, right? The same narrative as down in good old US of A, right? That's right. And they got to cut a hole in the ice. Are you doing some ice fishing? No, we're doing some baptisms today. Really? Oh, for sure there, eh? Right here on the James Bay. She's all frozen up, but we'll just get our saw down in there. And anyway, the 10 most historic and remarkable churches in Canadian land. Look at this right off the bat. Look at this beaut. Come on, man. Come on, man. Churches in Canada are some of the most incredible and awe-inspiring buildings. The cathedrals, with their towering steeples and Gothic design, easily rank as some of the most impressive architecture this country has to offer. Yeah, the churches alone. But never mind all the other crazy old world buildings, right? Here are the most remarkable historic chapels that have only grown more grand with age. Well, they'll let us know where this is. But of course, you guessed it. It's in what I've hypothesized was the former golden or white city here in Canada, the transportation hub of the old world, and still to some extent the transportation hub of modern Canada today. This, of course, is in none other than Winnipeg, Manitoba. We're going to start off with the Basilica of St. John the Baptist in Newfoundland. Oh, no photo available. Could have viewed on Instagram. Can we do that? No, because I'm not on Insta. All right. Anyway, we'll have a look at it. I think I've got it. Cathedrals found in St. John's historic downtown. It has to be one of the finest examples of neo-Gothic architecture. The Basilica is the largest building project in Newfoundland history. Started in 1839, construction was not complete until 1855. Okay, well, when you got a almost 20-year build time, that's a little bit of an easier pill to swallow. And I didn't even realize, sorry. Anyway, the Basilica of Saint Anne de Beaupré in Quebec. I also have photos of this, so it's fine. The extraordinary beauty of Saint Anne de Beaupré is found along the St. Lawrence River, only 30 kilometers or kilometers from Quebec City. It's most notably known for being one of the 5 national shrines of Canada. That's right, we have 5 shrines where miracles have taken place and whatnots. People have seen, the face of Jesus in their poutine. They saw the Virgin Mary in their maple syrup slathered on their pancakes. Drumheller's little church, we can skip that. It's a modern church. It's a touristy thing built in the 60s. It's a tiny church. It fits like 8 people or something. Basilica of Notre Dame du Cap, Quebec. I have that as well. It's also a shrine. The site of this church is packed full of history. The first church on the site of this current Roman Catholic church was built as far back as the 17th century. Church has been rebuilt multiple times since then. Why, you ask, Frankie? Why? Oh, I don't know. Are you going to guess fire? Frankie, I'll tell you, you're probably right. Some of these are not applicable. When I bookmarked this website, there were more photos to look at. Now all of a sudden they're only on Insta. My mistake. Sorry about that. I don't know. If you're on Insta, you can click the link in the box. Yeah, that church is crazy, right? It is a Russian Orthodox, I believe. But it's a beautiful, beautiful building. It looks like it belongs in, some former Soviet, nation, whatever. But yeah, that place is incredible. Winnipeg gets a lot of flack, but it shouldn't. Winnipeg is pretty fantastic, if you ask me. Bill saying farmers could use a little rain here. Where are you right now, Bill? If you don't mind me asking. Yeah, for seed germination. Mr. Beast fan saying non-stop rain here. We've had rain mixed with snow, as I mentioned at the top of the show here. A couple of days, where it was sort of scattered showers, but it was just cold enough where it was really, really wet snow or rain mixed with snow. Or, it would start as snow, and as the day progressed and it warmed up, it would turn to rain. It's that goofy time of year, right, where you really don't know what to wear because it's too cold for a raincoat. But if you're wearing your winter coat, it gets too wet. If it's down-filled, those feathers inside get all wet. It sucks. So you got to have basically a waterproof down-filled coat of some kind, or dress in layers, with your outer layer being a raincoat or something, right? But then later in the day, the rain and or snow has stopped, and all of a sudden it shoots up to 15 degrees Celsius, which is about 50-ish Fahrenheit. A nice day. You don't need any of that shit now. So you got to carry a backpack around with you wherever you go. What you got in your backpack? A parka, a toque, and a pair of gloves, some winter boots, a pair of shorts, some sandals, and some sunblock, a raincoat, and an umbrella, and a rain hat. Oh, going on vacation? Nope, just walking to work. It's a 10-minute walk from here. Old World Mi'kmaq in the box saying Saint Anne du Beaupré is sacred to the Mi'kmaq. Many pilgrimages there. Pilgrimages. Neural Mass in the box. Hello. Thanks for shooting in. Yeah, any of the, I would assume, anyways. I kind of know this, that many of the Mi'kmaq that did decide to convert to Christianity, converted to Catholicism. Because they had good relationship with the French that were the early French settlers, or a better relationship than the early British settlers anyways, and especially the representatives of the crown, right? But also it was that whole, you convert and we'll leave you alone, right? You can keep your this and that and whatnots and your traditional lands and stuff. And also, basically, I mean, the majority of the Mi'kmaq are on the East Coast anyways, Eastern Quebec, Newfoundland, most especially Nova Scotia, but also in Maine, the upper New England-ish area of the United States. And that's by the official story, the earliest parts of Canadian land that were settled. Yes, specifically the Acadians, and no big surprise that the Acadians were kicked out and then their land was taken by the British. That's nice. Thanks. The Acadians were treated pretty crappily. Not as crappily as the native indigenous peoples, but kind of crappy. Northern Illinois. Ah, that's right. Northern Illinois. Okay. So yeah, you get Canadian weather, anyways, right? I mean, you get the Great Lakes stuff. You get Ontario weather. You're up in the what is that? The thumb of the rabbit of the glove? No, the rabbit. You're up in the rabbit, the bunny. I can't remember. Can't remember. Joe Cool and JJ telling me about that, and I think somebody else too, a friend of the channel, is also from Illinois and was saying, the way it's shaped, it's like a glove or a mitten or whatever, and then there's a rabbit and I can't remember. Iroquois. Mr. Beast fan says we have Iroquois here. And where are you, Mr. Beast fan? You may have already said, and forgive me if I've forgotten already. Because that's in Quebec and Ontario. Ah, okay, there you go. Southern Ontario. Right, okay. So yeah, that makes sense. Because I was going to say, when I was a kid in Quebec, yeah, we had, there's a big reservation there of the Mohawk Nation, the Oka, right? There's a big standoff there back in when was that? Late 70s, early 80s or something? So try to take the land and, I don't know, build a stupid highway through it or put, I don't know, drill for oil on it or something. They're like, what the hell do you think you're doing there, Bod? You're not just going to do that there, eh? Anyways, once again, thank you very much for shooting in and joining a guy here. Frankie, New West Reset and New West Reset Live, episode 64, Canada's oldest churches. Again, links for everything below, as well as BitChute, MeWe, Feller's email, Rumble. We are simultaneously live broadcasting on Rumble and the HooTubes. My location map put together by Cousin Vinny is there as well. You click on that link, opens up the Goggle Maps file thingy there for you, and my little icon shows up. You click on the icon, and a panel opens up with a description and a video link, and you just click on that, and it takes you right to the video. And if there's more than one location, like if it's a walkabout mudflood tour, they're all linked up. So thank you once again to Cousin Vinny for that. Thanks to everybody for your support. 1,500 subscribers. We done did it. Yes. Thank you. Perfect excuse to do a meetup coming up in about a month and a half-ish time, mid-June. Fingers crossed, all going well. Further details to come, so keep your ocular sphericals tuned into the channel here for updates on community posts, and I'll upload a few videos pertaining to location, date, and time, and so on as we get closer to the event. If you haven't already, do all the HooTube things, with this and that down there and all the other. Coming up on roughly an hour, as mentioned, lovely day here today on this 3rd of May already. It's my parents' 55th wedding anniversary today. 55 years. So definitely going to get together with them sometime over the weekend, take them out for dinner or something, you know. Sure, why not take them out for dinner? As mentioned, it's 12 degrees Celsius here right now. It's like 55-ish Fahrenheit. It's pretty nice. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, 55. Made a turd be with you. Oh, that is excellent. Oh man, that is excellent. I wish I would have thought of that. I wish I would have thought of that. I would have made a meme or something about that. Yes, congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Frankie Sr. uh, Bill says, I apologize. I didn't know the Rabbit, Illinois story. Part of me is a grandson of Blackhawk. Oh, Blackhawk. Oh, there you go. No Blackhawk out here in the prairie or even Mohawk. You know, in the prairies, we've got the Cree and we've got the Stony and the Blood and the Blackfoot. In the States, they're called Blackfeet. Here, they're called Blackfoot. Not sure why. It's the same nation, same peoples, same language, same culture, same songs, everything. We got the Pagan. I think there's some Lakota around here too. Pretty sure. You know, because that's where all the nations got pushed. They all got pushed westward, right, as the East was settled. Not all nations, but a lot of indigenous nations, native nations were pushed westward. Some said, no, not going anywhere, like the Mi'kmaq. They're like, take off, eh? We've been here for like 20,000 years, you knobs. We're not going anywhere. We're not prairie people. We fish and stuff and hunt and stuff. We've got our houses over there and stuff, man. Joe Cole says, I heard Choctaw is in Canada. Heard of them there, Frankie? I've heard of the Choctaw. I think there might be. That'd be worth a Google. I would have to Google that. If a guy's got an extra Google in his pocket, burning a hole in his pocket. Old World Meatmock saying Illinois means many Indians in my language. Really? Huh. Did not know that. Did not know that. Ah, yes. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that's 55 years is pretty good, but that's really saying a lot these days. You know what I mean? Heck, even my baby sister, who just turned 50 in September, her and my brother-in-law, they've already been married for, I think they're going to have their 28th or something, 27th or 28th wedding anniversary. It's great. Fantastic. More power to them. Me? No. It's fine. My brother, too. He's made a couple of attempts, not of marriage, but of, long-term relationships, maybe get engaged, and they didn't take. But my sister and brother-in-law, God bless them, they're doing really well also. So, yeah, that's pretty good. So what do you say? I think that's we kind of come to that point in the show where kind of sort of perhaps maybe what Guy is going to do here. What we're going to do is fella's going to share some vintage footage video here. I'll give you a sneak peek at your midweek coming up this Wednesday. And as mentioned, this is Greenland. What is the name of this place? Godhavn, Greenland. It's a harbor town. And the footage is from 1924. Oh, I see. So the Oi, or Ois, as I jokingly say sometimes, Illinois. Uh, the Oi in Illinois, pronounced like it is in French. Oa, oa. Oh, Illinois, as opposed to, oh, okay, Illinois. And it would be Illinois, right? Illinois. Not Illinois, but Illinois. That's very interesting. Thanks for teaching me some people talk, sir. Appreciate that. Hippie's here. Hello, hippie. How are you? Good to see you. Just in time for some vintage footage, hippie. It's a short one. It's about a couple of minutes. Take off. Really? Wow. So you guys got to walk a line of trying to pronounce properly, but if you mispronounce too much, I don't want to offend, right? Same thing with Italian or Spanish. And I'm not including when I joke around, right? When I joke around doing my Queen Victoria impression. I say, loyal subjects, hello. Hello, loyal subjects. We are not amused, right? I mean, that's I've got British in my blood too. Just that, I find it a very really. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I have a very, very slight passing awareness of some of the language just from when I was a kid, right out east. So Welei, I believe, is how you say thanks or thank you. Welei, or is it Welalin? No, Welei, I believe. Anyway, sneak peek, vintage footage coming up this Wednesday. Godhavn, Greenland, 1924. And as mentioned, it is, how long is this thing? 3.5 minutes. So quick, sweet one. Stick around. Be right back in about 3.5. Cheers. All right, and we are back. Hello, hello. Thank you once again for shooting in, joining a fella here, Frankie, New West Reset, and New West Reset Live, episode 64. Canada's oldest churches. The top half of the show, prior to the vintage footage video, we had a look at, just some of the official history just to get a good foothold. We're going to have a look at some photos here in a sec. I've got about 60-ish, a boot 60-ish. But first, what a lovely video that was. Greenland in the early to mid 20s there, 1924. Seldom explored, I think, and oft forgotten Greenland. I mean, aside from, how its position and shape has changed on old world maps over the centuries. But, I've never seen boots on the ground videos in Greenland, and I don't, not off the top of my head, can ever remember a lot of, even just looking at old photos from Greenland. So I found that to be quite interesting, and it looks like a beautiful place. Yeah, it looks lovely, right? I mean, you get it's, fishing and whaling village, basically, made up of, let's see, at that time, Greenland, I believe, was under the protection of Denmark, maybe, or Norway. It was Norway or Denmark. I can't remember. Forgive me. But you would have some European settlers and then some indigenous peoples there too, right? And yeah, just hanging out, chilling together, helping each other out. It's kind of nice. Okay, so welai means good and welalin means thank you. All right, so let me ask you this, my brother. So if I was to reply to somebody asking me, how am I? And I wanted to say, oh, I'm good, thanks. Would I say the good thank you, or would I say thank you good? Because like how in French, right? Sometimes it's reversed in French. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm doing good, thank you," in French, it's almost like you're saying, "Thank you, I'm good." Right? So is it the same way as well, where I would say "welai welalin," or would I say "welalin welai"? Yeah, see, I've always wondered that too. It's like, why is this pushing the Bering Strait and this corridor of melt between ice sheets that allowed this migration across, Beringia? Why is that being pushed so hard when clearly, you could see how somebody could just follow the coastline from, you know, s- uh, West Central Europe, or even coming out of the Mediterranean, and then just following up the coast or the British Isles, even, or even Northern Europe, and Scandinavia, and just follow the coastlines. If there's a giant ice sheet there, like they tell us there was, as back in the Ice Age, right? Well, you would just follow along the edge of that ice sheet, right? Peoples do it today. They've been doing it for thousands of years. That's how they hunt seal and whale and fish, all of that stuff. I'm talking about what people used to call Eskimo, right? Inuit peoples. Oh, so it can go either way. Oh, okay. So you can say thank you, good, or good, thank you. Ah, okay. Good to know. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So cool, seeing so much about green and that has been hidden in the ice for a while. Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? Look at old maps of Greenland, and there's like animals scampering and scurrying about all over the map, right? Same as old maps of Antarctica, right? It shows like animals there, like mammals, like warm weathered creatures, bears and big cats. I don't know, like I don't know if they're leopards or whatever. Probably whatever's in South America. Monkeys and bears and jaguars. Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, you take, some money, you wrap it in tinfoil, and you put it in your cake, and then you pop the cake in the oven. Oh, yeah, definitely for modern history, there's lots of shenanigans with Greenland. But a guy wonders about, the 1400s, the 1200s, right? That's what I wonder about. Well, what's going on here? Something's going on with Hippie. Ah, oh, I see. Oh, it's somebody's birthday here. Got the time confused, been busy. Oh, your son's birthday. Well, happy birthday to Shake Jr. Hippie Shakes Jr. Happy birthday. And if I had known, I would have made a meme or something. I'm all about the little, video clips and memes now. If you haven't noticed yet.
So, Tommy, where have you been, huh? I've been watching Newest Reset. Huh? Oh, it's Newest Reset. It's this thing on YouTube. He goes around, he does his boots on the ground thing. They'll tell you.
Say you care.
All right, let's have goofing around here. Goofing around. Your youngest son's birthday. Well, happy birthday. That's terrific. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes I go on at what would be 11 p.m. for you, sometimes midnight. It depends what time I finish work on Friday, right? If I finish a little earlier, I might start a bit earlier. But yeah, generally I start 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, which would be midnight for you, hippie. But today, 4 p.m., so 11 p.m. start time. We're on the same day, hippie. Well, we were, but you've just time traveled ahead now. You're into Saturday already. Anyway, let's look at some photographs here. What do you think? I tried to grab as many of the sort of nicest photos that I could, and I tried to grab, an old photo or two, as well as, a more modern photo, and some interiors as well. I tried to grab a few interior shots. Let's see here. Once again, I hope everybody's enjoying their kickoff to the weekend and that you're having as lovely weather in your area as I am. I've heard a lot of folks are talking about rain, getting a lot of rain. So I've organized these oldest to least oldest, but still pretty old. 1647 to 1847, I think is what it was. What was it? Something like that. To 1864. Sorry, to 1864. Yeah. That's what it is. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here. All right, here we go. So this is the Basilica of Notre Dame de Quebec. So this is in Quebec City. This was built in 1647. Yes, I remember you sharing that actually now, hippie. Yes, he's 28. Well, he's just turned 28, right? But he's about 10 mentally. But he looks 16. Oh, we should all be so lucky. We should all be so lucky. Mind you, I've been told I look young for my age at 54. Well, creeping up on 54. 54 mid-June coming up here. So, but yeah, look at this beautiful thing. Don't concern yourself with this massive slope in this street and the fact that the streets are all either brick or cobblestone. Don't worry about that. But he says sarcastically, but Just a beautiful, beautiful basilica. And there it is today. Basilica of Notre-Dame du Québec. Of course, it's Canada, so you got to have a snowy picture. Why not? But yeah, huge stone, beautiful domed tower with a cupola, with another cupola, because that's how we do her up here in Canada land, eh? We gotta make up for our inferiority complex by having double cupolas on everything. Some kind of weird tech here. It's not a, there's your religious symbology. We got this here and these urns. Looks like may have been some repair work here, maybe. But a lovely, lovely building. Look at this. I mean, they got silly with it inside this place. Gold leaf? Sure. We got some gold leaf for you there, eh, buddy? Or, excuse me. Oui, monsieur. Vous adore d'or? Et voilà. Beaucoup d'or pour vous avoir. La Basilica Dorée. The golden basilica, man. This is silly. And not just the gold, too, but just, again, all of these difficult angles that the carpenters and plasterers have to contend with. And just like every flat surface has some kind of weirdo symbology of just beautiful embellishments. Of course, it's Quebec. You got to have your fleur-de-lis, but I mean, just these golden laurel garlands or whatever those are. Spheres everywhere, rosettes coming out the oiseau. And then you just have a mural on your ceiling looking like the glorious skies above. I mean, come on, man. And just, all of these arches in here. Now, who knows what this looked like in the 1640s or 50s too, right? I mean, who knows? Yeah. Making me remember my La France à glace. Donna Marie Farrell. Welcome. New channel for me. I know you guys. Sweet, grateful, groovy, everything. Thank you very much. Cheers and welcome. I know oiseau means bird. It's coming out your bird. You know what I'm saying? Here it is from the other angle. I mean, somebody slap these guys because they are silly. Stained leaded glass here and, paintings and murals. I mean, come on, man. Nope, this ain't Romania or Poland or Italy or England or France. Nope. It's Canada. The famous Notre Dame in downtown Old Montreal. I've been here many times. In fact, I was digging around my photo albums, but I couldn't find it. There's a picture of, I believe, 16-year-old Frankie when I went for a visit back home here to Montreal, standing in front of these doors. And, I would have come to about this top hinge. There you go. Sorry, that's not even the hinge. That's the door. So, yeah, your usual massive doors. Twin spires here, with your little doodads here. Some kind of double conage going on. You got Mary, and I don't know who these people are. Not sure. But yeah, this place is legendary, famous. There it is today. Again, don't worry about this sloping downward here. That's fine. This wasn't mud flooded at all. He says sarcastically. Okay, if you thought they were silly in that first one, they're extra silly here. I mean, they got drunk with the gold here. They went all Spanish and Portuguese with the gold here or something. You know what I mean? Like, just, we must have all the gold. They went crazy Egyptian with, we have to have every bit of gold, please. All the gold you can get, just put it in here. I mean, come on, man. Get these pillars here with like spirals in them, and it gets a little pixelated. I'm sorry. Get some pixelation going on, but you get the idea. Again, from the other angle. I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. Who went up here and did all this? You know, there's scaffolding and series of, and how long did it take them to do this? Whether that's painting or some kind of toile wallpaper or I don't know, whatever. It doesn't even matter what it is, whether it's painted or applied wallpaper, because they had, like, you know, old-timey wallpaper back in the day. As soon as they could print off stuff, they could apply it, not a problem. But I mean, this is just redonkulous. Another one, the interior of the Notre Dame Church, downtown Old Montreal. 1674 is when this bad boy was, oh no, just whack it up, no problem, eh? With all of this shenanigans here and just all of these angles and arches. Looking very European. Very, very European. But no, this is in Montreal. This one built in 1687. The seminary at Saint-Sulpice, also in Old Montreal. Very interesting double lions here. The Canadian coat of arms has what's called a rampant lion and a unicorn with, I think, the gold horn on the other side, supporting the coat of arms of Canada. This obviously pre-Canadian coat of arms, 1687. There's no such thing as Canadanadia then, really, eh? There you had your upper and lower Canada at this point-ish. Rupert's Land. Here's inside the walls. Very odd line here, just sort of a delineation line here. So did they add a floor later, maybe? Could be. But you can even see here, there's been some changes, because this is a rectangular masonry enclosed window, but you can see how the stone, there's remnants of arches here in the stone. So that also leads me to believe that, oh, well, this had an arch in it too. I was going to say maybe this was added later. I think it was. But when they added this later, they continued the arch motif. And then later, rectangular windows were put in it, because even these ones here are arched. So already some tomfoolery. This looks to me like it was added later on, because I'm not seeing the same. It's hard to tell, though, but I'm not seeing the same arch remnants here. This could be all original, but and there's the Roman numeral 4 we all look for all the time. There it is, finally. Finally, a guy tracked down an IV. Well, so you know when it's time to pray, I guess, even though they could just ring them bells instead. But I don't know. Yeah, why the clock on on a seminary. Oh, this I just noticed. I just now noticed this. Okay. This one's stoned in, and they have an arch on them too. They've had to put a window well around this one. And this one they've said, forget it. Just J-piper off, stone it, brick it up. Good enough. So, aha. Shooting right down into the ground there. I see you. I see you. This is the Notre Dame des Victoires Church in Quebec City. Our Lady of Victories, basically. 1688 build on this. That's one hell of a steeple on this little church. Again, a sloping street, already brick. Mind you, the photo obviously isn't 1688. But there it is today. Sloping downward here too. Come on, man. So, and these windows are awfully high. And you've got to go up 6 or 7 steps here, depending what street you're coming from. But was there perhaps more windows here? And was this door much grander at one point? I mean, it's still a door within a door. You could see there's a door here framed into this larger door. But anyway, you got to have your double portals. I guess they decided to forego the double cupola and went with double portals instead. I don't know. Yeah, that's right. 5 minus 1 is 4. That's how the Roman numeral 4 always used to be. And now we see I. We see 4 I's, which is stupid. Because 10 minus 1 is 9. IX is still 9. IM is still, or sorry, MIM is still 1999. Some reason they're effing with the Roman numeral 4, but they didn't mess with 9 or anything that you add 4 onto. You know what I mean? Anyways. Well, yeah, that's right. They look, and it might just be, you know, a trick of the eye or something maybe, but also to me it looks like the level of the floor in here and the level of this window is different than this window and this floor. Unless, again, this was added onto, which I think it must be. It's there in the older picture too. So, not sure. But just a tiny little place, but that's okay. Gold! Gold for everybody all around. Give me the gold! This is obviously something to do with sailing, you know, nautical, whoever the patron saint of sailors is. I don't know. What's going on here? You got a really pissed off winged person hurling fire or lightning or something, and the ship is going down. That's nice. Devs providebat. I don't know. I don't speak Latin, I'm guessing. Then you've got the, oh yes, then you've got the crown looking on. Yes, yes, destroy that ship. Oh, fantastic. It's kind of creepy and off-putting. 1690, 1711. Okay. Very interesting. Crown on a pillow. Mm-hmm. This one maybe is an anchor or some kind of nautical theme. I don't know. I don't know. Very unusual, but awfully fancy. Now, this place is just really unique looking. And you know what? We love somatic windows so much, we're just going to slather the place in them. This is the Basilica of Notre Dame du Cap in Quebec, built in 1720. Please ignore the fact that it's built on a sloping ground and there's multiple stairs and different entranceway levels and heights to get into this thing. Yeah, very snazzy. The gold inside is, even in that little chapel-y type church, the last one we just looked at, is still just over the top, But yeah, this place is, look at all of these dormers around here, triangular dormers. So all these goofy angles that you got to work into this thing. And this, to cap it off, we'll put a cupola on top, whose roof mirrors this roof. Roof. This thing is, you know what it reminds me of slightly? Just the overall sort of shape of it is the Parliament Building Library in Ottawa. Not the Parliament buildings, but in behind the library. Looks very reminiscent of this. To me, this is very old world. Why would you bother with all of this shenanigans? This is supposed to be a church. And they'll say, well, the glory of God. Sure, you want to put this on there and, some crosses to glorify God. Sure, I'm with you. But like all of this, and again, somatic window. Could this at one point have been a star citadel inside a massive star fort or star city? Because Quebec City is a walled city. I think actually parts of old Montreal have walls too, the old port. So old Montreal was a walled city too. But see, you've got multiple levels here in the back with different points of entry at different heights. And this is a funny angle, but this thing is huge because there's the door and there's a guy standing in the door. So this thing is massive. Yeah. Crazy, right? Yeah, if I was to say, definitely Tartarian inspired, this for sure. Anything with this is very Canadiana too, with the severely steeped pitch roof, with the green, and then the stone building. Right, a lot of the old railroad hotels are built with this style. A lot of the government buildings, especially in Ottawa, but not exclusively, have this style where it's, it's really shooting up severely, and it's almost always a green roof and a stone building. And it's an almost distinctly Canadian style. It doesn't necessarily have a domed roof. More often than not, it's going to have a mansard roof, or it's going to have spires on it like this, and then really severe angles. And all these dormers too. It's just, yeah, this place is crazy. And then the inside too. You see the windows from the outside and they're impressive enough because again, they're massive, but it's only once you get inside, you just fully appreciate this thing. All of this stained glass, all of these beautiful colors shining in through here. It's goofy, just goofy. Yeah, they do almost look European, right? Well, and that's the narrative, right? As well, in this part of Canada, it's in Quebec especially, Montreal and Quebec City, and it's the French settlers and the French Catholics. They're building these massive churches. cathedrals and basilicas. Look at the size of this organ, man. I mean, come on. Huge. There it is from another angle. And you could see, no shortage of other old world buildings surrounding the place. Over here, back here with this crazy smokestack, these brick buildings here. But this just sticking out like a sore thumb. Right on the St. Lawrence. Beautiful. By the way, if I forgot to mention, built in 1720. 1700, the population of Canada was, 30,000 people? (1750), St. Paul's Anglican Church in beautiful Halifax, Nova Scotia. Yeah, that other one was quite tall, wasn't it? Yeah, it just shoots up. Very dramatic. And this thing is, again, a cupola on top of a cupola on this thing. Again, severely sloped, leading a guy to, lean towards, a mudflood on this thing. And again, in the background here, you can see, obscured by these trees, these beautiful old world brick buildings with arched windows and stuff. Now, this looks like it's clad in wooden siding, but I would hazard a guess that it's brick or maybe even stone. 1750, it could be stone underneath, because it's quite large just to be a wood frame building, especially to support this massive double cupola on this thing. And then again, these guys, you know what? We're going to do the double cupola and the double portal in Halifax in 1750. And the stained glass in this thing is just ridiculous. I mean, not quite as large and extravagant, but again, you've got your pillars with some capitals here and a big arch and the gorgeous stained glass. Got to slap some gold on there. Got to get your symbology in there too, Is that the Popera's hat or something? And, a globe and sure, a coat of arms in there showing you who's calling the shots in 1750 in Canada land. But even up here, columns and arches, slap some gold on there. Two years later, this thing is whacked up. 1752, Church of the Visitation of the Blessed Virgin Mary. It's the Église de la Visitation de la Bienheureuse Vierge Marie. Double spires with double cupolas. Some kind of crazy elongated portal windows on this thing, Fantastic. This is impressive too. There's your mansard roof with the dormers in it. You take your vow of poverty, but then you get to live in this thing right next to the church, apparently. But this is so impressive. Come on, man. Come on, man. Crazy. Look how beautiful this is with the coining with the stone here. It's had some work done to it. It's a Victorian tart-up, I think, as Dave Ebony would say. But Butte, again, sloping down a bit here. $17.52. You want chandeliers? I got your chandeliers for you. Eh? Oui, monsieur. Chandelier. Everywhere. Chandeliers. And gold. Must have the gold. Just all of this nonsense. Beautiful. It's like a person, but their arms are turning into these creepy. What is this? I am Groot. Is that what that is? I am Groot. It's the Church of Groot. The Church of Marvel Studios. Altar of somebody or other. This lady's fallen asleep. You're not supposed to sleep in church. Look up at all of these difficult, complicated angles in here, all of these symbols and all of this gold, and just be dumbfounded and bask in the wondrous glory of it rather than nodding off there, lady. What are these for? I've always wondered. I mean, that's so somebody can come up here and address the congregation, but I don't know, it just always seemed awfully fancy because it's got to have a little roof on it in case it rains indoors, I guess. And it's, they can't just build it on a platform. It's got to be fancy, so it's got to be suspended by a Phoenician shell or crazy. 1754, this is that St. John's Anglican Church in Nova Scotia. It's another church over here and then another one in the background too, by the way. No shortage of churches, I guess. But look at this thing. Look at that. Something. Really stumpy door and then a massive window. So I'm guessing that, this was probably at least this size down here. It's not buried in snow, by the way. I think this is really old too and is an old mud flooder, potentially. Because this looks ridiculously huge and this looks itty bitty. Because there's the guy. So maybe an 8-foot doorway. But compared to this, 15-foot window, come on, man. And bless them, they kept all the globules and tech on it. Guess they figured, Nova Scotia, nobody's busy looking at lighthouses. What a beauty. It's hard to tell now, though, because they've manipulated the front here, right? They've paved all this over now, but I guess there is a walkway here. But there it is on the inside, looking like a tall ship turned upside down. I mean, this is glorious. All this wood. Just fantastic. And again, just, you gotta have some gold. You gotta have all these carvings and just incredible. And the stained glass is, I mean, what can you say? What can you say about that leaded stained glass? It's crazy. All this up here. I mean, come on, man. 1754 in Canada. There you go. Get your bib so that you can catch all your drool and dribble as it runs down your chin. There's just something about the wood. I don't know. It makes it feel warmer to me. And the contrast with all this gold, and all the paintings and the stained glass with the wood. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm Canadian, so I'm partial to wood. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm an outdoorsy guy. I live close to the Canadian Rockies. I like wood. But yeah, this place is lovely, man. Lovely. Yeah, really nice, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was clad in wood, I think. I mean, the whole thing could be wood. I mean, the interior of the dang thing's wood too. So, I mean, a wooden building built in 1750, well, 1754, 1771 now for the Notre Dame Chapel of Bon Secours. I've talked about this one before. There's a Marché Bon Secours nearby, which used to be an old world public market, like an arcade and farmers market, and like everybody, the dairy farmer would bring his wares there, and and it was a massive market, and it's still there. It kind of looks like a Crystal Palace. But this is nearby, and I've talked about this before on previous shows because I remember my dad and my uncles when I was a kid talking about the crypts and the catacombs underneath Bon Secours, and I thought they meant the Bon Secours market, which I thought, oh, that's creepy and off-putting. I go there to buy some tomatoes and some local apples, and meanwhile there's skeletons and tombs down under there. Ew. But no, it turns out it's under this. There's catacombs, like Parisian France style catacombs under here. Not quite to that extent, but yeah. There it is, modern day, lit up. It's, again, just a tiny little chapel, but I mean, she's beautiful, just beautiful. Each of the four corners has a sort of a spire. Front and back are different. The back side of this is quite a bit lower too. I think I've got a shot of it from another angle. But you can even just see this whole neighborhood. This whole street is very historic. This is in Old Montreal, downtown. Well, thank you very much, Neetup. Thank you. Here's a little bit of the fanciness on the inside. Are you getting sick and tired of hearing me say, come on, man? Because come on, man. Look at this. Oh, wow. Just silly. It's just beautiful. 1771. I don't know what this is carved out of, but it looks like it's carved in quite deep, or it's hollow on the inside, Well, in here too. Really nice. Another look at that ceiling from a different angle. Getting a crown on the pillow. What's this? M. V. I don't know. I don't know. Weird face here. Yeah, just weird stuff going on there, man. Weird. But really striking. I mean, this is just awe-inspiring. As it, should be, I guess. Some rosettes there. I'm not seeing Groot here. There's no I am Groot going on in this one. Oh, I guess I didn't have a picture of the backside of that. I thought I did. Yeah. Anyway, 1837, St. Peter in Chains chapel or church in Peterborough, Ontario. That's right, Peterborough. I think this is one of the oldest, if not the oldest church in Ontario, I think, or something like that. Like it's 1837. That's pretty early on still. Beautiful, huge, really steep spire on this thing. Look at this mural inside here. And then just, again, all of these complicated angles, huge arches, vaults in the ceiling. arched windows, and then these massive pillars with these capitals. Kind of a grainy photo. But, well, he lived in Peterborough. Oh, there you go. It's a little bit better. Yeah, look at this. See if we can see what that is. Looks like it could be granite, but it could be what in French is trompe l'oeil, fool the eye. It's a painted effect to look like stone. I know how to do that. I've done that kind of work before in people's homes, residential. They wanted like a feature wall to look like it was made out of granite. Either way, very nice. A little more modest, but there's still a lot going on with all these carvings and these angles. So this is the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist. Pretty sure this is in Quebec as well. Yeah, see, I mean, it goes against that whole bill saying 1771 proves that there was a race that was living like this, or a race, or like a civilization, or a culture, or a society, yeah, that was living like this when my grandfather, Chief, who was a Black Hawk, was still living in huts. They were traveling farmers. Well, yeah, out east, right, tend to be a little bit more stationary, community build up, more permanent or semi-permanent settlements, whereas supposedly the plain, what they call in the U.S. the Plains Indians, right up here, the prairie Indians, were supposedly more nomadic because they had to follow the buffalo or the bison, so they lived in teepees supposedly, and all that jazz, or maybe some wigwams or whatever, these goofy names that they say that, oh, they had to live in those teepees or wigwams. Well, why? Why wouldn't they just build permanent shelters? Oh, because they had to follow the buffalo. Yeah, but by the same official story, there was hundreds of millions of buffalo. So they wouldn't necessarily have to travel far. You get like 20 dudes, you go on a day hunt. Hell, they were driving them over cliffs, called a buffalo jump. So if they could repeatedly use the same location to drive buffalo over a cliff all the time, why would they need to move around? See what I'm saying? It just doesn't add up sometimes. Anyways, St. John the Baptist Basilica. Again, looking a little stumpy or short here, right? As you can see, they've got, again, these lines of delineation. That's a hard one for me for some reason. Here and here, but then this one looks like it should be here, but no, the floor must be here because you've got to go upstairs. You see what I'm saying? It looks like 5 or 6 feet at least too short. Especially, again, because it appears to be up on a hump a bit. I don't know. There it is today. This sort of gated entranceway is very strange because it looks like it's of a different construction. So perhaps this is from an older building. They've taken the time to put a portal window in here, but then they've bricked it in. Why? Doesn't make sense to me. It's like we've got another IV for a 4 here, people. Fantastic. At least I think so. This one's too pickolated to tell. Look at the ceiling in this thing. 1841. St. John the Baptist Basilica. Yeah, and that last one, yeah, the central painting is a more modern style. Yeah, it's not, that Renaissance, late Renaissance period, like some of the earlier ones. Absolutely. It kind of looks like it was done in, like, I don't know, the 1940s, or I don't know, just some amateur guy, semi-professional church painting guy. Anyway, this is just baffling to me. I mean, I don't even know what that is. What purpose does that serve? Is that an acoustic thing? I mean, all these recessed sections in here, but then this protrusion, it's a nipple almost. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be graphic. I'm trying to be slightly humorous because I'm just puzzled. Could at one time the lights hung like these types of suspended lights, where they got to put a candle in there and light it, and then pull it up with a little pulley. Were they suspended by these at one time, and they've since moved the lights to the sides, or I don't know. I've seen these before, but not quite this elaborate. And then even all around here too. I don't know, but I mean, this is crazy. Oh, this is just so unbelievable. So we got another Notre Dame Cathedral Basilica, because, having one in Montreal isn't enough. We got another one in Ottawa, 1846. Again, you've got double spire. This has got like a triple cupola on it. All kinds of nodes here. The old tech. Something going on back here too. Again, pardon the pixelation on this thing. I tried to get some of the best ones I could, but some of them are pretty small. There it is today in all its glory. Now, again, Ottawa is the seat of the government for the entire nation of Canada, right? So, by the official story, yeah, of course, there's going to be a lot of beautiful old world structures there, a lot of historic buildings, absolutely. And churches are going to be no exception. But even still, I mean, this is still quite early on. 1846. It's still kind of the rootin' tootin' Wild West, at least where I am in Alberta at this point. Now, how's that? How do you like them apples? Well, yeah, especially when you have, those really steep spires, or you have interiors like this. I mean, come on. Just outstanding. I mean, there's just so much to look at. The guy's eyes doesn't even know what to lock onto. You know what I mean? Like, look at this. Oh, wait, look at that. Wait, what is this? Wait, is there something holding that up in behind there? Yep, there is. What's it holding up? This guy. Well, what's he holding over here? Oh, he's sitting over here. There's a lamb, and then there's a person's head here, and there's somebody peekaboo behind there. Like, what's going on? Like, there's just so much. And then, throw some stained glass in behind there, and then throw some of whatever this is. Some kind of stone. Then it looks like it's got, is it carved here? Is this painted? Couldn't tell you. But if you live in Ottawa and you live close to this thing, go in there and go look at this thing and touch it. Take a picture, take video of it. Do some boots on the ground. I encourage you, everybody, anybody. If you've got buildings like this where you live, get out and document it. Share it. That's why I started my channel, because I saw other people sharing stuff that looked like the stuff that was in my neighborhood. And I thought, well, this is just something I can bring to the table. One more piece of the puzzle to say that, look, even in Wild West, rootin' tootin' cowboy land, Calgary, Alberta back in the day, we're seeing old world stuff, even in the frozen Canadian North in the 16, 17, and early 1800s. They were building stuff like this up in maple syrup land. Another St. Patrick's. This one is St. Patrick's Basilica in Montreal, 1847. Again, up on a hump. You put stairs everywhere because people are just tumbling down the hill, I guess. I don't know. Like a dirt path here, but then I'll just put some stairs in. Again, a big somatic window. All of these sort of conical dome spires, just incredible. All this doohickeys here and this. This is it here, without a tree obstructing it. But I mean, just look at the whole area. This, and then this, the one we're looking at right now, this one. Looks like something out of a freaking fairy tale, for crying out loud. There it is today. These are really interesting. I don't know if they're supposed to represent waves or what, but you got to put a little dormers and a little top on this thing, and it's just incredible. It's like something's going on with a lot of discoloration on this thing here, though, especially along the what would be potentially conductors or ether tech, theoretically. So maybe was there some, does this thing get cooked out a little bit, or heat damage from some kind of electrical surge or something? Some repairs here and here too, I'm thinking. I don't know, I'm just speculating. You've got slate here, and you've got the green. Getting fancy on us here. And look at this. I mean, and there you go. Again, when you put a roof over you, so in case it rains in here while you're doing whatever you're doing this thing. But we're going to make it look like a crown. And I mean, this is just outstanding. Even the wallpaper and just everything, man. So old world, so opulent, so detailed. Even up here in Canada. MODOK is in the box. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, with little to no tools. Well, 1847, it's all hand tools. Hammers, chisels, plane to plane down the wood. Manual drills, manual saws, manual lathe. I mean, on industrial levels, there's steam power by now that would, steam engines that would use belts to drive the machinery in big factories by this point. But, not on site. You wouldn't have any kind of power-assisted tools on site. Maybe steam shovel to build a foundation if you want to go by their official 1847 build date. But even that's pushing it. A little bit of a closer look just to give you an idea of the detail. Is there Groot in there? I am Groot. I'm not seeing him. Not sure what that is. But, I mean, this is... I'm baffled and befuddled and bewildered. Just all of this. Like, we're going to put a statue here, but we're not just going to put it in a niche. No, we're going to put it on this fancy little pedestal. It's carved or attached to the wall, carved out of this wood or attached to this wooden or whatever this is. And then we'll also, he's got to have a little roof over him in case it rains in here too. And all of them are going to have that. Jeez. Wowee. Wowee. Ridiculous. Yes. Good eye. That's right. They added little portal windows here in this domed portion of the ceiling. And then here too. This side too. Yeah, crazy. And then big, huge murals too. And, stained glass. It's, gold. It's come out. This is Christchurch Cathedral in Montreal, 1859. Again, the door's looking very stumpy or squat. I mean, you got to go up a few stairs just to get to this main sort of drive. But then you go through this door and you got to go up some more stairs to get into this inner door. Got some grotesques on here. Yeesh, that's creepy and off-putting to say the least. What the heck are these doing on a church, right? Beautiful window, though. Oh, these are stained glass, I see. This too, probably, yeah. Wow. And then, looking very castle-esque here. This is where you're shooting arrows down at the Protestants, I guess. I don't know. This, too, is very, very unusual. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, she's a beauty. There's no doubt about it. There it is from the other side. Just crazy. Again, this green, right? Lets you know that you're in Canada land. This is just unbelievable. I mean, this is impressive enough at the front, but I mean, this is just outstanding. Get another IV. See, Montreal knows how to do her up right there, eh, bud? Here's from another angle. Very impressive. Just notice this too. Yeah, it's tech on there still. And then we get inside this thing. Again, just, these arches, these big pillars, all this fancy carve work. I mean, it could be poured molding, but I mean, like plaster mold poured, Either way, it's just impressive to look at. And again, you just got all this shenanigans here and just all of these inside the arches. I don't know what those are, rosettes or no, they're little faces. Get out of here. More little grotesques or like a frog face there or something, a fish or something. I don't know. And there's that window and an organ. All right, a few left here and just about done. Thanks for your patience and sticking with me through this rather large photo file. It's a little larger than I usually have, but there's just, I mean, there's so many others we could have looked at. I mean, I tried to stick with, stone, more European style to what we would have been taught to think as European style churches and cathedrals and basilicas and so on. But there's a lot of, old wooden buildings. And, this file could have easily been 100 photos. So this one, 1864, Church of the Jésus, Montreal. And you got these dormers with portals in them just coming out of here. It's crazy. Beautiful stonework. Niche there. Now, here's your main entrance, right? Top of these doors. Say behind is this window. Similar sized keystones and all that. Sure, I get it. But then you got this nonsense down here with whatever these used to be. But it continues to slope downward here too. So this, this isn't even where it ends. It goes down more. It just keeps going down. You can see here the ground severely slopes upward here. And then they've put a paved walkway or a driveway maybe here. I mean, this is even this right here. Look, yeah, that's safe when you're not expecting that, especially ice and snow in the winter. Oh, that's a beauty workmanship area. That's how you do that, eh? Nana coming out of here after service. Right on her keister. I couldn't find any old pictures of the exterior, but here's a nice old shot of the interior. It's a beautiful place. Absolutely impressive inside. Look at this. All of these arches back here and just this huge, this looks like it may be a painting or a mural, but it almost looks like a relief or carving or something. But it's probably a painting. Yeah, because I'm assuming these are paintings too. Just all up in here too. Gold! Columns and pillars with capitals everywhere. Is this the last photo? Oh, look at that. I think that's the last photo. Yep. In that file, if I'm not mistaken. Bill Singh, I'm pretty sure those churches were Tartarian built. That's why I'm asking if any little people can say that their grandfather helped build them. Yeah, well, yeah, right? I'm going to actually tell you that there is a church that my grandfather and some of my great uncles, some of my grandfather's brothers actually did help build out in Delson, Quebec, little community out by my grandparents' farm. And that is I don't know, 1,200, maybe 1,500 square foot, one level wooden church with a little wooden steeple and a staircase going up with a little bell tower at the top. Little peaked roof with a cross on it, and you can, you literally pull a rope and ring one bell, just clang, clang, clang. But in terms of these buildings, I mean, definitely a lot of questions. Definitely a lot of questions. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, a little bit of a larger file than usual, but again, there's just so much to look at, and I basically just scratched the surface because, as mentioned, it didn't really go west of Ontario, didn't even really, except for that one article that had that one picture of the church from Winnipeg. Other than that, didn't really go into the prairies or into British Columbia at all. The dates start to line up a little more, though, where there's a little bit more of a degree of believability in some cases with the churches, though. I mean, but there's still some churches in Winnipeg that were built in the early 1800s, and they're huge. And they're like, come on, man. So what are we looking at here? Just a little bit past 2 hours here on the show. So once again, thank you very much for shooting in and joining a fella here for another one. New West Reset Live. Frankie here, and this is episode 64. We're looking at Canada's oldest churches. So at the beginning of the show, we clicked on a few links and had a look at some stuff. So those links are in the description, as well as my email and my location map, and where you can find me on BitChute and MeWe, Rumble, which we're also broadcasting live simultaneously right now, YouTube and Rumble. So welcome to everybody. Appreciate everybody shooting in and joining a guy here, kicking off your weekend on this Friday. Hope you're enjoying yourselves, and the weather is pretty good for you. It's supposed to really get to be quite nice later on the week here as we move into the weekend and sort of progress into late next week. Warm enough where I don't think, I mean, this is all speculative because, again, anything can happen weather-wise in Calgary. Got a couple of sayings here in Calgary. If you don't like the weather in Calgary, just wait a minute. Or if you don't like how the weather looks out your front door, just look out the back door. So it could snow. It could snow in May. We've had snow in May before. It's not completely unheard of. Not even that unusual. But, I mean, it's going to get to be into the high teens here coming up for quite a few days in a row consistently. So any precipitation, I'm thinking is going to be rain by then, which is nice because, again, keeps the forest fires and the wildfires down, which is good. Unless they're deliberately started by powers that should not be. Excuse me, sorry. That's a whole other show. So I think I'm getting ready to wind this thing down here very quickly. So again, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it as always. Coming up, as mentioned, thank you to all of you for all of your support because we've just passed the 1,500 subscriber mark. So now I can use that as an excuse to do a meetup. That'll be coming up in roughly a month and a half time, mid-June. So stay locked onto the channel here for more info as we get closer to the date. Going to be looking at Inglewood. Other projects coming up this summer here for the channel. Going up to Edmonton. I'm not sure exactly when yet. It'll be in the later part of the summer, probably in August or maybe even September. There's a lot going on here in Calgary in July that I want to cover. You know, the Calgary Stampede and Rodeo and all that. So I probably will not be going up to Edmonton in July, but more likely August, September. What else is happening? All kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. Oh, and if you're in Edmonton, I think I have a bunch of viewers. A lot of people that friends of the channel that live in and around Edmonton. So if you're up there and you want to meet up when I'm up there, let me know. Again, shoot a guy an email and leave me, you know, your contact information if you're comfortable with that. And if not, we could just correspond by email. That's great. But yeah, and I can, you know, keep you informed as to when I'll be up there, and we can have a look at some old world stuff up in Edmonton. Should be really nice. I haven't been up there for a while now. I'm going to hit up a bunch of places in Edmonton, too. I'm going to hit the old downtown. I'm going to hit my old neighborhood, and then some individual buildings that sort of warrant videos of their own. The Freemasons Temple Lodge main thing there and whatnot and so on, and the old jail that's there, and which I think used to be a fort. Going back to Heritage Park with cousin Vinny, we hit that last summer. That's a historic amusement park set up like a circa 1900 prairie town. They got a steam train in there, and old churches and old buildings set up, and an old hotel with a saloon. Basically, the story behind how they set up that Heritage Park was, little towns. So we're going to get rid of this old church, and Heritage Park, it would be donated to the park, and people from the park would go and disassemble said building and rebuild it on the park. And they made this sort of living museum, amusement park, historic park thing out of it. And I mean, it's definitely a sort of a local permanent spin on the old fairs, the old world's fairs, the indoctrination fairs. This just helps to perpetuate the official story of specifically about how sort of southern Alberta, or Alberta in general, came to be, in the wild west, and the pioneers and the early cattle ranchers and fur traders and all that stuff. But we're going to go back to that, and we're going to skip a lot of the other stuff, and we're going to hit the car museum and the train museum, because we didn't get a chance to see those last time. We were there a full day, and we still couldn't see the whole place. We'll check out the blacksmith too, because he was shutting her down by the time we got there. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I've also still hammering out a date and time to do a historic walking tour with a local Freemason. A co-worker of mine is very, very high up in the Freemasons here in Calgary and in Alberta overall, actually. And I showed him Old World Explorations coffee table book, 101 old world buildings in North America, the ones that have been destroyed. And he was like, "Oh, that's a Freemason building. We built that one," and so on and so forth. So we started talking about some of the local buildings here in Calgary. And he was giving me some of the Freemason history story behind some of these buildings. So he said to me, "You know what? I'll take you for a walk around tour of some of these buildings. There's about 5 or 6 of them that are all within a few blocks of one another, and a lot of them we've already looked at here on the channel. But I thought it would be very interesting to take some video footage with him from the Freemasons' perspective, and hear what kind of shenanigans are going to be going on with that. So that'll be really interesting. There's a bunch of other stuff that we're working on too. Of course, always interested to hear what you have to say and any ideas that you have for the show as well. So again, if you want to shoot me an email, your show idea, or some photos you want to share, whatnot, always love to hear from you. I generally, for my channel, try to keep it Canadian, but not, I'm not real strict with that. It's not, ding, 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 carved in stone or anything like that. Like tonight, for example, with your sneak peek for Wednesday, the vintage footage, it was Greenland. That's not in Canada at all. It's close. It's our neighbor over there, But, well, I've asked him actually about the handshakes, and he says, yes, different degrees have different handshakes. He says, but if they're just out in public and they meet people and they're shaking hands with somebody, they don't just throw up the handshake in hopes that the receiver of the handshake is a Freemason. He says it's mostly they use different handshakes for, when they go to their lodges or temples, and also members of different lodges can go to different lodges, right? So if you're a Freemason and you live in Vancouver and let me reverse that, because I was going to say if you're in vacation in Toronto, but not too many people who live in Vancouver are going to go to Toronto for vacation. Let's say you live in Winnipeg, there you go, and you're going to go to Vancouver for vacation, but you're a Freemason. Well, you could go to the lodge there, right? But you got to, depending on what level you are, once you get into the lodge and you talk to a few people there, then they start doing the handshakes. And apparently certain degrees are not allowed in certain rooms in certain lodges and temples and whatever they call them too. So, if you're in like a wing of the library that's restricted to certain degrees or higher, the best way to confirm that is with the handshake jive stuff. Oh yeah, you definitely have to put your tinfoil hat on for the Freemason tour. But I just thought it would be interesting. Oh, I did catch him on the hidden hand thing because I said, "Oh yeah," I said because he said, "Well, the handshakes, it's not like what most people think." So I said, "Well, yeah," and then there's the hidden hand, and he's like, "Oh no, we don't do that." And I'm like, "Come on, man, that's the symbol for the master of the second veil." And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, you got me on that." I'm like, "See, Tartarian Prague rocker is in the box. Howdy, howdy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you." Modoc says, "You worked for Earth Drilling, Fallon, Nevada, home office in Alberta." Oh, yeah, we have a lot of home office, head offices, and so on, central offices for drilling companies here in Alberta. Calgary, I think, still is, has the second most corporate head offices in Canada after Toronto, I think, or maybe third behind Montreal. But yeah, I mean, it's out here in Alberta. It's oil country out here. NB is in the box. Greetings, New West Reset from Neil in UK. Going to York Cathedral tomorrow. Now for religious purposes to check the Tartarian building out. Fantastic. Good on you. Good on you, Neil. Excellent. I reiterate the point I made earlier. I always encourage people to check out some of the places in their local town or city. Or if your city doesn't have much, but you know that another place, an hour or two away, hop the train or whatever, get out and have a look. Document it, if not for anything else, then for posterity. I mean, I'm not saying everybody has to start a channel, but it's great to share it around. You could start, I don't know, like an Instagram page or whatever they call that. Or you could start a channel. If you don't want to start it on YouTube, you could start one on another platform, So York. By the way, speaking of Toronto, that's what Toronto used to be called, was York. Named after York in England, obviously. But then there was the whole New Amsterdam becoming New York. So then you had York, New York, and York thing going on, and it got to be real confusing. So then they reverted back to Toronto, which apparently is derived from Indigenous First Nations name for the region close by on Lake Ontario, close by where Toronto sits today. So there you go. We're about 2.5 hours here. So yes, thank you once again for joining me here. I think that is going to seal the deal here tonight for Frankie, New West Reset, and New West Reset Live, episode 64. So once again, I really appreciate all of you shooting in and joining me here for Canada's oldest churches. Again, links for everything below. Thanks to everybody in the chat. It was great seeing all of you. If you're watching this after the fact, after the live, hey, come on. Thank you for all of your support as well. Thanks for your comments and the thumbs ups, all of that. Really, really appreciate it. So don't forget, as usual, Sunday, boots on the ground video. You got your sneak peek at your midweek coming up for Wednesday, vintage footage of the little harbor town of Godhaven. God's heaven, I guess. Godhaven in Greenland. And then we'll see you next week, Friday, for another live. So thank you very much once again, everybody. Appreciate it as always. And until the next one, take care and have yourselves a good one. All right. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
It's
It's a mystery! It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma!